Right guys, welcome back. This is a video exclusively on an Audi front end collision. So, from time to time, for some of our customers, we do get involved with insurance work. So Steve has just been outside in this absolute freezing weather today and got it all cleaned and in. Let me show you the damage. So it's been in a front end collision, and as you can see, we have a pretty dented up bonnet. I mean, that doesn't look too bad, but let me show you the gap. So we've got a very, very large gap opened up. So the wing has been pushed this way and the bonnet has been pushed that way. Now, when you come up here, it's more apparent. There is now a step, and this bit of trim no longer lives where it should be. So, from my estimation, I think, and after having a good look in here, the hinges have not only gone this way to the end of their adjustment, they have also bent. And the insurance company also agrees. So they have allowed for us to replace both hinge sets, both sides. They're also replacing the bonnet and also going to be having this wing repositioned and possibly replaced. We'll know more once we get it off. We'll see if there's any stretch markings or any witness marks as you go round the car, but certainly we do have no gap anymore. And the door does catch down here every so often. So it definitely does need something going on with this wing. Also, for the expensive bit, we have a cracked headlight. This headlight was £3,000 alone. So including the VAT, £3,000. A very high-end LED headlight that is now fitted to these newer range of Audis. Also, the front bumper is all caved in here, as is the grille smashed, and behind that, the air conditioning condenser is also damaged. So this afternoon's job is to get the tools out, get the car stripped out, get it ready basically to see what components we're going to need. Now obviously we've ordered the bits we can see as normal, and the insurance company always let you have an over allow. So they will then have a photograph sent to me, from me to them with a video, etc., explaining what it is we've found next. Now, we know the air conditioning compressor and condenser are definitely damaged here. Can't see further than that. So until we've had the aircon man here to drain the system down, then we'll be able to carry on with dismantling those areas inside the engine bay. But certainly, there is quite a lot to do. Also, these days, when you buy a bumper, nothing comes with it. As you know, it is just a bumper shell. So there's going to be a fair bit of parts to transfer, as in these grills and these lower trims. Not sure what's going to come. I have asked for the bumper to be complete, so we're not sure what we're going to have to take off. There isn't that much good on this. The grille, the number plate surface fixings, all broken. So we have ordered everything new. So yeah, time for Steve and his trusty friend Ella to get the tools out, start dismantling this car, and see what else we can find. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is where the bonnet actually clasps in to these latches, and they're controlled via the lever over here. Now, this one is working, but the holder in which holds it is split, and also this is stuck up. So I'm guessing we're going to have to replace this component too. We found that quite early on, so I actually missed that on the estimate, and it wasn't until we got it in here and saw it under the lights that Steve actually noticed this split. So kudos to Steve in noticing that, because we're going to have to get that piece on order relatively quickly, because I imagine this is, so this is stuck. So I imagine that is broken, whereas this one is at full height. So job number one is get a price from Audi's for this component and get the insurance authority for that straight away. Right guys, as always, things aren't simple, are they? But we've exposed the damage on the front left corner, and so far, oh dear bear, we've now got a crash bar that used to live here. That has moved, what would you say, Eva? 4 inches, 5 inches? Yeah. It's a lot, isn't it? So that is cracked and broken. So we're gonna have to replace the entire crash bar by the look of it. and all of the trim that hold the bottom of the headlight and retainers is, yeah, smashed to pieces. So obviously that is going to incur some more pieces required for the insurance company to agree. Yeah, trims, broken, foam pieces, and of course the crash bar itself. So yeah, this is getting into a bigger job, more than we first foresee. When you look from outside, you would pretty much not have a clue that that crash bar has been pushed back that far. No idea until you get in there. Well, obviously I did state a worry that the radiator for the air conditioning was going to be broken. I'm almost certain of that now after seeing this. Hi guys, so we're still working on the Q7. Things escalated quite a lot yesterday when we found that extra damage down in the front. What that has meant is a full front end strip down now, and also I've had the part schematics sent over from Audi to then label up on the schematics the parts required to rebuild this car as if it had never happened. So yeah, that's how it looks now. So the whole front end on the floor, and the reason being there's lots of different pieces that have been broken. So this piece of trim here is connected to all of this. It is smashed. We've had to take the whole bumper off now to access the other side, obviously, and the left-hand lamp is on the floor too. Everything on the left-hand side of the car is fine. The right-hand side of the car has all of the carriers and pieces that hold all of the headlight and the trim on that right hand side together are all smashed. What that has meant is it's now exposed the other things that are broken. We did have a really bad gap down our wing. Now off camera, what we did do is we've released the tension of the wing back off, and also here where this connection piece from the bulkhead to, from the top chassis to here has bent. But we've released that pressure, pulled the wing forward, and there is actually no damage on this wing other than a very small mark here that PDR will resolve. And now we've got the gap where it should be. So that is good news. We don't need to buy a wing. Where it gets a little bit more involved, if I show you this side, this is undamaged. This is how it should be. And then when you go over to here, you'll see that it is, wow, no longer in line. It's all pushed back. So the bonnet hinge retainer here is cracked. This is stuck down. We're going to be buying a new one of those. Also, this whole cassette holder goes right the way round. So this piece here connects right the way down, goes underneath all of the coolant radiators, and then comes back up and joins here. This is obviously really damaged, cracked, broken, pushed away over to that side. That brings me onto the crash bar. So here's the shape of the crash bar this side, as you would expect. And then this side, wow, it is more banana-y than it is straight. It's cracked all the welds here, all the way down through here. So this is, well, it's broken. So that needs replacing. And this comes as one piece from Audi. So that all there will be taken off and replaced with a new one. I'm just going to grab the iPad, pop it up here and show you the information that I've been running through to decipher what components are needed for the rebuild. Okay, so what I've done is, if you look at the iPad here, sorry about the reflections of the LEDs, but Audis have sent me part schematics for all of the front end on 7 different pages, and we've deciphered from the broken components we can see what number identifies which part, then wrote that down on the page and what part that we're going to have to order. Then I can build an email back to the dealership and get prices for all of these components to then go back to AXA, the insurer, to then get, well, confirmation they're happy to pay for it and get our order confirmation edited to reflect that. So obviously there's going to be quite a bit of additional labour and part costs from the original quote. As you'll see here, again, all parts of the front end, you've seen this is the piece that I've shown you on the floor that's broken. Here's the crash bar. Again, we know we need to order one of those, and the connecting parts and bolts. The foam fill behind the bumper's also broken. So quite a lot of things on this screen were required. And then you've got all the bumper blown up. The bumper needs replacing in its entirety because everything on the right hand side of the bumper is damaged, and that includes all the trims that sit behind the bumper and the reinforcement trims. So that again needs to be all replaced. So we know that was quite simple. Then on this one we found the parts required for the bonnet hinges, the cables, and the hydraulic lifting arms for the bonnet itself. So again, a whole list of parts here on page 3 that we need, that we've allocated over there. This is all the things that you do that take all of the time when, you know, putting these quotations together, and it's not something you can quote for until you get into the job. So when we've insurance quoted this to begin with, we've given an estimate. That's why it's called an estimate. It's an estimation on the cost of those repairs going forward. They never ever work out, usually, unless they're quite a superficial basic repair, to work out that way. This has hit a Land Rover 90 heavy, hard, and that is why that's happened. When you look at the bumper though, you would never know the extent of the damage behind it when you're viewed with a car that's completely all together. The bumper is completely all together, as in there are no visible push marks on the side of the bumper, because the bumper is so strong it rested on the crash bar and then broke everything behind it. You're not going to know until you take it off exactly what's going to be required. Now, I did put into the estimate that we might need an air conditioning radiator. We don't. That is absolutely fine. The shroud around it was broken, which is available separately. So like I say, it's not until you get into a job this big that you really know what's going to be needed, and that's where all the time consuming pieces come in. The time taking relaying this information to the dealer, getting those parts prices back, amending the quotations, and then getting it off to the insurer for the engineer to then reassess that situation with accompanying photos and parts prices, for him to turn around and go, I'm not paying for that. You should be able to reuse that clip. They're not all like that, but sometimes they are. In this instance, I've been speaking to a chap called David. He's been brilliant, very, very communicative, quickly and efficiently, and he understands from the extent of this damage that we were going to be having a further conversation post initial estimate. So anyway, I'm going to get back to work because, as you can see, I've got a lot to do. I now need to get all of those parts priced up from Audi's, get those prices back, get that off to the insurance company. It is Friday at 2 o'clock. I was hoping to get this authorization sorted so that next week we knew what we were going to be ordering. That's no longer the case. That means this car is now stuck off-road in my unit whilst I'm doing that, not earning us any money. So that is, again, time is of the essence. We need to get this information sent off, get it done, get that approved ticket, then and only then will we order the parts list. Now, as it stands at the moment, to replace all of the superficial items, those headlights, those LED ones down there, they're £3,000 each. So far at the moment, before these extras were found, we were at 8,600 on component value alone, excluding paint, materials and labour. So this is going to be well in excess of probably £10,500, £11,000, I would say at a guess, now finding all of these extra pieces that are required to be fitted underneath the damage that we've exposed. So again, that's a job for the engineer to get that approved. Obviously this car can't go back together. Sometimes you would get to this point on a more elderly or higher mileage vehicle and think to yourself, we're going to be getting near to that point where it's going to be written off. Not in this instance. It is a low mileage 2023 plate Q7 S Line. It's still, the value of the car still is right up there, so we're not going to be getting anywhere near a risk of a write-off at this point. But nonetheless, we still need to get this over to the engineer. So the next time I'll pick this video up now will be hopefully when we've had our discussions with the engineer, we've got our authority, we've got the parts on order, we can then rebuild and construct everything under here. Our panels will be at the body shop getting repainted, get the car back together, polish those newly painted items, and hopefully get the car back to the customer. So, I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to get cracking. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in part 2 where we get this Audi back together.